Hey everyone, welcome back to Burt's Garage. So today we're back on the 61 GMC 5000 and we're looking to get some paint back on the front suspension components and the front frame rails so we can get this front suspension put back together. So we've had it disassembled, too long now, and we're ready to move forward. So the steps we've taken so far, we pressure washed things, got them cleaned up the best that we could. We used a Dawn detergent to scuff it with a green scuff pad or Scotch Brite, and then we moved into the the degreaser from 415 as well as the metal ready, and that's why you see this chalky phosphate looking color that's on the frame rails and the bare metal area. So that actually neutralizes the rust. So the 415 itself will actually put a top coat on to this phosphate to lock in to prevent the future rust from happening. And then we may or may not go with a top coat on top of the actual 415 base coat. So the top coat, purpose of that is basically to keep it from UV light or from fading. So let's look and see what we've done and get things set up ready for paint. Hey, I just fucked up. Call me back. I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it here. You wouldn't like it, nobody likes it, nobody likes it here. So getting a closer look on the front frame rails and the front cross member, we've used our metal ready as far as etching the metal, and that leaves that phosphate on it. That way it's prepped and clean, ready to accept the 415 base coat. So this right here is prepped and ready to go. We just gotta hang the front cross member up so we can get paint on both sides of it. This is our 415 degreaser that we used initially. We moved to the metal ready, that's what leaves the phosphate. And what I've learned in the past is if you'll put a sandwich bag in between the lid on the 415 and do not actually dip your brush down into it, that'll preserve that paint. So basically when you need to use some, you just take your little cup here and you pour just enough inside of it that you're gonna be dipping from. Then you can dip inside this cup here, but ultimately when you're done, put a sandwich bag in between it. That way you don't actually trap air. And this has been in here since October of 21 and it's still a liquid form here, so we're ready to move forward. We've got our front A-arms, we've got our front frame inserts for support, and this is the front cross member we've modified, and that was from the C50 going onto the P30 chassis. So it basically keeps us where we can keep the front cross member but drop the front core support down lower to level out the sheet metal. So we're ready to move forward on this, and now we need to get things set up. Okay, so today we're planning on being somewhere close to about 75, 76 degrees, but right now the metal's a little cold from last night, so we're warming things up, and we've got the meat racks hung with the meat hanging on them, and we'll be ready for some paint as soon as our temperature gets up just a little warmer. So ultimately I think everything's looking good and we're ready to move forward on this. Perfect. The metal's up to temperature. We're ready to drop some paint on this. Let's get it. Well, that's a wrap on the front cross members. We got it all painted up with the Pour 15, ready to move forward with the rest of the components. Super awesome. So that's a wrap for today. We've got the frame rails painted, the front cross member, some of the suspension components, and now we'll just sit back and watch paint dry. So everything turned out as planned, and I'm pretty happy with the results. Now we've got to work on those lower A-arms. Stay tuned.